Good morning, everybody out there. It's Sarah here. This is Enchanted, where it's our mission to make magic mainstream and help women all around the world conjure joy in their lives through everyday magic. And I am joined today by Nick. Nick is the headmaster of astrology here at the Sisters Enchanted. And I'm trying to see if our tech is working today. It is. Yay! Nick's our headmaster of astrology. So what's he have to do with the chakras and what we're talking about today? Really not much. But I thought that it would be cool for him to come say hi. And, just so you guys can get to know him, since he is one of the faces here and somebody that you will definitely see if you hang with us here at the Sisters Enchanted. So let me get, there we go. There's comments over here on Facebook. And I have no place to put this phone. That's okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. And good afternoon over there in the UK. Hey, Alicia on Facebook. Oh, all right, guys. So yesterday was day 1 of Magic Week. And we talked about working with the lunar phases, which is actually way more up Nick's alley. So we should have been here yesterday. But you were. Nick's got a muggle job too. So he was there. And today we are talking about the chakras. So these actually go, the lunar energies and your chakras, they work really well together, because the lunar energies, it's like this sort of external energy that's impacting the world around you, and you're in like your soul self, and your energy is this, your chakra system and your own energy is this piece that's within you and exuding out. So they really can work well together when you start to sort of work with those two things and see them as assets to your energy tool belt, toolkit, right?
Utility belt.
Your utility belt, Batman. Yes. All right. So yeah. Okay. So if you missed yesterday, you can check out the replay. The link is right there in the email that I sent out today. You have the printable for today in that email, and at the end of the week, I will send a roundup with all of the printables and all of the replay links. So if anybody's missing them, you can find them. But you can also find the videos right on Facebook. Speaking of which, I need to share this video to our group. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Where are we? And then we will go ahead and get started talking about the chakra system. All right, cool. We're all done. We're shared. Oh no, what did I do? Put this away. Okay. Oh, it's going crazy. Everything's going crazy. Okay. Yeah, heck yes. Holler. Now this Mercury retrograde has been pretty good for me, I feel like. All right, let's get to it. Share the screen, and we're going to talk about the chakras. So this class is packed with information, and I'm going to do my best to stay on focus and get everything to you. And I will sort of bounce back and forth to answer questions. So if I don't answer your questions right away, it doesn't mean I'm not going to answer them. I will definitely get to them. We're just going to try to stay on topic, since there's so much information here. This just is not working for me.
It is not working.
No, I'm trying to do this little
struggling
setup to balance my phone.
I don't know
here.
how to help you.
I don't know how to help me either. Not new, guys. Okay, all right. So day 2, the chakra system. Oh, look, we're in this little square down here.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that happened. Okay.
It must be new.
I know. All right, so who are we? We are the Sisters Enchanted, like I said. Here on these photos, if you were here yesterday, or if you're familiar with us, you already know these friendly faces, but I'll run through them again in case you're new. We have Anna all the way there on the left. She's my real life sister. She is our student success sorceress, co-founder, and lady of the lore. She knows all things mythology and is a tarot junkie extraordinaire. You have me, Sarah. I am our head magic maker, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. I drive the bus. Nick, he is our headmaster of astrology, writes our weekly Star Speak astrology forecast, teaches our astrology class. And we have Danielle. She is our in-person here, kind of behind the scenes gal, helping us out with stuff. And Nikki with the funky fresh dreadlocks there on the right. She is our, Rebecca says, yeah, we still see you, so don't pick your nose. Nikki is, she just was our student success sorceress, but she just transitioned into another role, but she is always around and able to help out. She's taken all of our classes. She's been with us for a while now, and she's super nice and smart and easy to access. So you can find Nikki in just about any group and anything that we have going on. We teach a couple classes. We have our Expedition Astrology program, which runs twice per year. It's a 6-month immersive astrology class. Our Enchanted Journey program, where we teach all different sorts of cool stuff. Society of Business Witchery, where I help women grow their magical businesses and sometimes muggle businesses. And then Holistic Witchery, which is a new program we're rolling out with our tarot class, our moon class, all sorts of really cool stuff in there. And I'll just play this little clip for you so you can see some of our community members and learn a little bit more about us.
Hey there, Magic Maker. I'm Anna, co-founder, mythology nerd, and tarot enthusiast at the Sisters Enchanted. Hey there, I'm Sarah, head magic maker and founder at the Sisters Enchanted.
You just love this video.
It's great. I can't get enough of it.
We believe in creating community for witchy and magical women of all backgrounds at the Sisters Enchanted, where it's our mission to make magic mainstream. So hop on your broom, conjure up your favorite beverage, and welcome home, Enchanted Sister.
All right. I love that video. I think it's like the coolest thing we've ever done. Anyway, okay, so that's us here at the Sisters Enchanted. So today we're talking about the chakras, what to do with this information. I said this yesterday, I'm going to say it again today. Take what works and leave what doesn't. If something seems really irrelevant to you, like it doesn't match your belief system, what you've known to be true, that's totally cool. You do not have to roll with it. Remember that at the end of the day, there are no rules. So you can, again, just adapt, integrate into your life what will work for you today. Create your own magical notes pages with this information. When we write things down in our own words, it helps us to absorb and use the information. And then when you're working with the chakras, it's really great to make a practice of working with your energy. So the printable for today has a list of all the chakras with a note next to it that says, I release, I accept, I am. This is a really powerful exercise to go through with each of your energy centers and say, this is what I release from this energy center. I accept this and I am this, and stand in a powerful statement there. So make it a practice to do that and simply enjoy this information. I'm just going to check back, make sure we're all good and that there's not questions or anything before we go forward. All right, it looks good. Everybody's here, no questions. All right, so let's dive in to the first of this. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff, so we're going to try to stay on task. You guys know me and my tangents. Oh, Rhonda says, it's Nick. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
Yes. I know, I think you're more in that little square than I am. Okay, so some background information on the chakras. This is not new information. They actually come from, or we first see them mentioned and talked about in the ancient Vedic, the ancient Indian text, the Vedas. In it, I took an Indian literature class in college, and it's definitely not super easy information to like absorb. I would not personally be like, oh, go find a copy of the Vedas, sit down and read it. But that's where we find them first. We have really westernized the chakra system and chakra work with the rise of Hatha yoga here, and that's our movement-based yoga. And we do have all these new age chakras that sort of have emerged. And these are chakras that people talk about that are outside of your body, kind of floating sort of above you, ethereally, and different ones within your system. But we're going to talk today about the 7 core chakras, the ones that you would find in this ancient text. They are energy systems, little energy centers, rather. I should have said centers. They're energy centers found through, oh, no, this is what I was talking about. I digress. We can find mention of energy systems throughout cultures. So while we're talking about the chakras, In every culture, you can find different ways that people approach energy within you and have different terminology for it. So this is one way to talk about energy. There are tons of different ways, though. And these energy centers, these 7 centers, the one thing that I really want you to walk away from today, the information I want you to take with you, is that they function as a system. So we always, we'll see people talk about like, how do you open your third eye chakra? How do you clear your throat chakra? How do I balance my root chakra? And that's all well and good to look at them sort of as pieces, but we have to remember that they do function as a system. And the example I like to give is that of your car. So if you have a car and one of your tires is low in air, the entire car is going to wobble when you're driving it. It's not isolated. Like you're not just like, oh, I think my right front tire needs some air. I can feel it in that exact space. No, the whole system wobbles, and it's the same with your chakras. So because they do function as a system, when we look at our energy as a whole and see like how one thing's feeding into the next, that's when we see the most change in progress. Nick's like, I don't even know what I'm here for. I'm just hanging out today.
I'm actually learning.
All right.
I shifted because the information was good.
Okay, so let's, and again, if I joined late, Nick is here. He's our headmaster of astrology, and he's just hanging out today to say hi and introduce himself because today was the day he had available to do that.
Figured y'all needed to see me.
All right, so the root chakra, that is that's your base chakra. So the way that I'm going to talk to you about the chakras is from the lower part up. When you learn about healing work, Reiki work, they are often talked about from the crown, the top of the head down. And that is because in doing your energy work, we channel sort of that spirit source energy to come downward into us. Here, I'm looking at our ability to work with our energy on the physical plane, which is why we start at the root chakra. So that's your first chakra. It's right at your tailbone. If you're sitting down, you're probably sitting on it. It is the first of the 3 physical chakras, the 3 lower chakras. Those are your root chakra, your sacral chakra, and your solar plexus chakra. And these represent all of this sort of earthly matter stuff, the physical plane stuff. The things you can see, you can identify, you can talk to other people about, they can see as well. So at your root chakra, it's associated with the color red, like a deep, nice red. This is where we feel safe, nourished, trusting, very grounded if this root chakra is sort of in balance. So before I move on, we'll talk about that idea of balance quickly. I believe that none of us are ever truly in 100% balance because if we were, we would all be we'd all be monks. Like we would be perfectly content just living with nothing. That's
how I live.
And Nick is like, I'm a monk, aren't you? And we're all monks. And so as humans, I think it's actually really normal for us to have sort of wonky energy most of the time. And so this idea of balance versus imbalance, overactive versus underactive, I feel like it's just always like coming into the best balance for you right now. So what would feel really good right now? What's your picture of balance at this moment? And that's what we want to achieve. If we're going for perfect here, that's too much for all of us humans to deal with. So in a balanced sort of root chakra, one that's kind of perfectly active, not overactive or underactive, we're going to feel safe in our worldly environment, safe in our home, safe in our skin. We're going to feel nourished. We're going to trust people around us, trust ourselves, trust the earth, feel nice and grounded and level. If we are feeling really restless, disconnected, anxiety-ridden, not able to focus, kind of like in the clouds, lost, that is a sign of an overactive or underactive or imbalanced root chakra. So a way to quickly bring this chakra into balance is to get grounded. And I wrote literally, you can literally go outside and sit on the ground, put your feet on the earth. We look at the root chakra as sort of our roots to the earthly plane. And just like roots would hold a tree down, if those roots, if the ground is too waterlogged, if the roots aren't developed, if they have root rot, that tree is going to fall over. And your whole energy system, will literally, when you get anxiety and you're not focused, you're not able to really function appropriately or ideally in the physical realm, it's because your roots at your root chakra have root rot, I guess, for a better lack of better way to say that. And you're toppling over energetically. So we literally want to ground ourselves, creating an earthly environment by bringing in plants, colors of earthly colors, earth tones. If you live in a house that's very beige, bring some of that earthly energy in. This is your relationship with yourself and the world around you. So this is your relationship with money, material goods. If you are like, hoarding physical items for no reason whatsoever, that is, that we can look at the root chakra for that. Finances, overspending, or in some cases underspending, like afraid to spend money, that's root chakra stuff. And these three lower chakras, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, this is where we carry a lot of our wounds, a lot of our traumas, our negative past memories from this life. So your past, present memories, childhood stuff, all of this impacts those lower chakras and how you operate on the earthly plane. It's represented by the element of earth, and some other cool ways to work with the root chakra are to eat root veggies, things that are grown in the earth. If you are a meat eater, red meat, I know not everybody eats meat. Nick's a vegetarian himself.
No meat for me.
So your root veggies and earthy red crystals, like red jasper, anything like really brown, earthy sort of color. And the scent of cedar is really great for the root chakra. So again, that's your base chakra. It's the one right there at your tailbone. And it's the one that I personally that I suggest people like really take time to get grounded and work on, because it is that base, it's your roots of your energy system, and when we aren't feeling safe and secure and focused and present, that's when our whole rest of our energy sort of topples over. All right, I'm just going to take a sip of my drink here. All right, and we will look at the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is the second of the three lower physical chakras. This is our passion and pleasure center. It's where our creativity, sensation, sensuality, and sexuality all sort of drive from. So while I think that the root chakra is the one that we should really focus on, like making sure we're trusting, we have a good relationship with the material world around us, your sacral chakra and your heart chakra are actually the two that I think are super important to kind of think about here, because with your sacral chakra, it's not just, we think of it and we think of like this like divine feminine, divine masculine, like sexy time energy, but it's also your ability to just do things that you desire to do. Like if you desire to write a book and you don't do it for various reasons, you're closing off your creative energy. And when you're not allowing your creative energy to move through your soul feels very icky. And that's how we find ourselves every day waking up and we're like, another freaking day, instead of like, yes,
you're speaking to my soul.
It's another day. Like I have another day to live my passion. Like that's when we're operating from a balanced sacral chakra. So when it is sort of functioning at its optimum levels, we're going to feel energized, compassionate, ready to live. We're going to feel confident. When it's not, we might have a hard time connecting to others, have self-esteem issues in relationships, and maybe feel guilty when you do put yourself first. So many parents in the room, I'm sure, can raise their hands to that one. And the sacral chakra, while your root chakra is kind of material goods, it can be money and things and jobs. Your sacral chakra really is other people, is what it comes down to. So while it's your passion center, if you're not living your desires, you're not the best person you can be to connect to other people. And this is where you might attract in relationships that don't serve you well. You might overdo for other people, be a people pleaser. If you're that, I'm a mom, so like I'm always like, oh, I gotta take care of the kids first before I ever take a minute for myself, to a fault, and feel guilty when you put yourself first. And that's all that sacral chakra plays, because we're not putting our desires and our passions first. And this is where I come back to the idea of being human, because we are human and you can't always put your desires first. So we have responsibilities. So that's where we're going to feel, that's where we're going to feel this ebb and flow in our energy centers. But we will call in relationships here that aren't serving us the best when we're not operating from a place of real creativity, sensation, that Like, what is my internal highest, truest desire? It's how we connect with others. And a great way to work on this is to kind of get those sort of pleasure emotions flowing. So whether for you that is doing something pleasurable, like creating, like if you're an artist, for me, it might sound weird, but I actually really love to create content for the Sisters Enchanted. Like I can do it all day, every day. But hydrating, this is a hydration point, like snuggling with a pet or a snuggle blanket or a person. Get that idea of like being intimate with either yourself, other people, and pleasure. Get all of that flowing. It's associated with the element of water, the color orange. So you'd want to drink liquids, soups here if you're working on chakras and food, which is a great, really cool thing to do. And the scent of gardenia. So there's all other ways to work with the chakras too. Each one has its own sound. They have different mudras. They have different Kundalini yoga things you can do. These are just like some overview sort of things that most people have available to them and can do right away. So that's your sacral chakra, the second of these 3 lower physical chakras. The third is the solar plexus. So your root chakra is right where you're sitting, kind of at your tailbone, sort of, if you're sitting down. Your sacral chakra is sort of right below your belly button. If you're a female, it'd be like your womb center. And then your solar plexus is kind of right below your rib cage. Like put your hands right below your ribs and right above your belly button. That's your solar plexus. This is the color associated with the color yellow. That's kind of your own personal sun. It's like your ability to be seen by the world. So how people see you. It's your sort of purpose and drive to action. So if this is feeling very bright, very brilliant, just like a nice noonday summer sun, we're going to feel confident. We're going to face challenges head on. We can advocate for ourselves. You know, if we want that promotion, we can ask for it. We're confident in asking for it. If you struggle with self-discipline or willpower, seeing things through, then that might be an indication that your sun isn't shining so bright right now. And literally spend time in the sunlight, like get that energy moving. It's associated with the element of fire, like I said, the color yellow. If you want to incorporate diet with your chakra work, whole grains, if you eat grains, but really anything yellow, like yellow citrusy sorts of fruits too, and the sense of cinnamon and sandalwood. So it really is your own personal sun. It's how you are shining your light on the world. So with these 3 physical lower chakras, we have our material world around us. We have our relationships with other people, and then how other people are seeing us. So how we're feeling in those relationships. Are we feeling guilty? Are we people pleasing? Are we feeling like our desires are being nurtured? And how are we being seen? How are we shining our light onto the world? And that is our 3 physical chakras of earthly matters. And again, this is kind of where all of our past, present life stuff, all of that childhood crap, all of that gunk, or like when someone looked at you and called you a loser, you're like all this, like your boss was mean to you, this all lives in this lower sort of energy. And moving your body, like moving your legs, your hips, dancing, lower hip opening yoga sort of stuff is all really great for getting the energy moving through here. All right, let me switch off and see if we have any questions or comments coming through. All right, must be easy today because we don't have any questions or anything. Let's see here. And Rebecca just says here on Facebook, the root chakra is one I have the most issues with. I think a lot of people do that root chakra because we too in our lives, like when we have these physical, these things in our lower chakras, these physical worldly things, what do we do? Most of us in this culture, we buy stuff, particularly like in American culture. We go shopping. We shop online. We buy things at the store that we don't need necessarily. And it's just kind of the culture that we live in. And
it's kind of like just a general filling the void.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So
healing the problem.
Yeah, which is really hard to do. It's a lot of like shadow work, and who wants to do shadow work? I mean, people do want to, but then when you actually get into it, you're like, why did I do this? I would rather just watch something.
Shadow is so much darker than I thought it was.
I'd rather watch a funny movie. All right, so let's go on to the heart chakra. And I also have some different activities for you to try at the end as well.
It's exciting.
I know, lots of cool stuff coming at you. Let's see here. Oh, Lindsay says she loves hula hooping to get that energy moving. Yes, hula hooping is so fun.
So look at me for.
Well, because Anna and I have those hula hoops. I have a big hula hoop that my husband made for me, and it's really cool. Nick's like, I don't hula hoop.
More often to dance in my living room than hula hoop by myself.
All right. So your heart chakra is next. This is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So it's right at your heart center. So you have your 3 lower chakras, and then you have your 3 higher or spiritual chakras. And this is right in the middle. So it's literally the bridge. And when I talk about the energy moving like a system, it's moving like up and down all the time, so it's kind of always filtering both ways through this heart chakra center. And so your heart chakra, we want it to be this open and flowy sort of place with this great big energy. So it's connecting to the other energy of above and the energy of below. But the heart chakra is really tricky because it's unconditional love. So where your sacral chakra is sort of that passionate love for people, it's that like, more romantic sort of love. Here is unconditional love. Like you love, your kids, your spouses, yourself, general people. Like even though you might find somebody that you're like, you are a wretched person, but you're a human, and I do unconditionally love you as a human. Like I would not wish ill upon you, even though you're a wretched human. Like that's an unconditional love trait, to like just unconditionally love. And unconditional love has got to be the hardest thing ever. Unconditional love and releasing expectation are like, seriously, I don't know anybody that can do both of those things perfect all the time. Maybe a monk. But so unconditional love for yourself and others resides in your heart chakra.
A lot of times
center.
Monks are monks because they need to be monks.
So that's your unconditional love for yourself and others is your heart chakra place. So we can see this in the choices that we make, the way we treat ourselves and our bodies, how we treat others, and allow others to treat us. So if we are allowing other people to treat us poorly, you're not unconditionally loving yourself. If you are, if you're not treating others kindly, that's not unconditional love for them. The choices that we make, are we putting ourselves in situations where we are able to be unconditionally loved, or where there's going to be a rift here? And we can see that all coming out in this heart chakra area. And it's where we hold just so much resentment and expectation, because we feel like we're not being unconditionally loved when people don't meet our expectations, and then we're resentful, and it's just this like spiral of stuff. And so I feel like the heart chakra has got to be the hardest of the chakras to work with. And I feel like too, this is why I love the heart chakra and the sacral chakra so much and talking about them, is that if we're not lighting up the desire in our sacral chakra, how can we unconditionally love ourselves and those around us from our heart chakra? And so while I think the root chakra is a really great place to start and work on, that sacral and heart chakra to me are like next in line.
It's interesting that the heart chakra is related to the element air, because the element air is related to logic and the mind. So, and what you said here is it's a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So it's almost like your mind is kind of influencing all of that.
Yeah, well, because our ego gets in the way of us being able to unconditionally love. Unconditional love is very much an internal thing, and then our ego is the thing that's like, they don't unconditionally love me because of X, Y, and Z, or I can't unconditionally love myself because of X, Y, and Z, and that's all ego sort of stuff. So yeah, those thoughts that get in the way. So for sure. So choices we make and ways to work on this heart chakra are to get the negative emotions, get them out and get the love flowing. If that means like shouting out your anger at just go outside if you live in a place where you can do this, and get outside and just scream to the ether your negative emotions, write them down, dance them out, create them out. When we talk about creating, that can be more than just like painting. I'm not talented in that way. Creating for me is very much creating content, getting my message out into the world. That is my creation sort of state. So whatever creation looks like for you, create something, but get those negative emotions out and try to get love flowing by doing more things that make you feel loved. Pets are great for this. Watching movies, reading books that give you that love feeling. Just anything that's like that soft place to land feeling we want to do, and replace the negative with that. We talked yesterday about when we remove things, if we don't replace them with something, we leave space for that to happen again. My example was your kitchen counters. So the minute you clean them off, it's just plenty of space to throw more crap on again. In my house anyway.
Yeah, no, your talk yesterday was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like you clean off those counters and you're just like, oh, look, space for crap. But if you are like, no, this is intentional space for my cutting board. This is intentional space for my like cooking. This is my intentional tea preparation area. And I have like a little magical tea altar. Like all of that, you intentionally create the space, then you're less likely to fill it with crap again. But if it's just left open, the crap is going to fill the void. So we want to get this out and replace it with that love sort of thing. So yeah, the element of air, like Nick said, the color green, eating lots of green veggies, the scents of lavender and jasmine. What's an interesting thing to think about too is in your own life, the colors you surround yourself with. So well before I was really working consciously on the chakras, I love the color green. And I was always filling my house with green stuff, green pillows, green curtains, green everything. And then I learned about the chakras and I was like, oh, that's very interesting with the heart chakra. And every time I've ever had a tarot card reading, an intuitively picked crystal, someone's made an intuitive piece of jewelry for me, anytime ever, it's always the color green or rose quartz. And rose quartz is a crystal that you would use for heart chakra every single time. So it's been screaming at me forever. But for crystals, rose quartz is a great one. Anything green that you have hanging around would be amazing. So what's going on here? Okay, so we move then into the first of our higher chakras, our spiritual chakras. And the first is your throat chakra, which is right at your throat center. This is your personal voice. It's your ability to communicate, speak your truth, and hear the truth of others. So it's literally your ability to communicate. So if you're having a very, if you lose your voice and you're very hoarse, that's something to think about. Chakra issues can manifest as physical problems. So like your lower chakras, your solar plexus and your sacral, if you have digestive issues, that's something to think about. And then like actually being able to like get the digestion things out of your butt, that would be like a root chakra issue. So we can actually look at like where our physical symptoms are, and there's all different correlations to those. But so your throat would be your actual ability to speak and speak your truth. And like I said, hear the truth of others. So while we hear through our ears, and we actually do have ear chakras, which is like a whole other thing we're not talking about today, but being able to hear what people are saying and really hear it and take it in, absorb it, and know what they're saying, that's actually a throat chakra issue. So it's your ability to both send out your truth and receive someone else's truth in for what it is without judgment, and really truly understand what they're saying, which many of us can't do. It's really hard to like really hear a person. So with your throat chakra, you want to look and ask yourself, are you speaking your truth and living your best life? If you're in situations where you're not able to fully speak your truth, you feel like you can't really speak your truth, or you just keep having miscommunications with people and they keep telling you that you're not hearing them, that's a throat chakra issue, and you want to look at that. And again, this all relates to the chakras that have come before it. With your heart chakra, if you're not unconditionally loving the other people around you, you're not unconditionally loving yourself, you aren't going to be hearing other people's truth, and you're not going to speak your truth fully, because that takes unconditional love to speak one's truth and hear somebody else's truth. So we might experience a block in creativity here if your throat chakra is not optimal. And journaling is a great way to work on this. So by journaling, we mean getting out the things that you want to say that maybe you're not saying. Just set a timer for a few minutes and just write and see what comes up for you. It's a really great way to work on that throat chakra. The element of sound, the colors like turquoise, aquamarine, these sort of lighter blue colors, fruit, and the scent of frankincense for that throat chakra. All right, the next in the spiritual chakras is your third eye. This is like everyone's favorite chakra. Everyone in like the witchy woo-woo community, this is your favorite one. So your third eye is right between your eyebrows. So just take a second right now and just like feel that space relax. We hear in meditations, you do meditation, they'll be like, let your jaw relax, let your face soften, let your shoulders relax. But we hold so much tension in our third eye, and we just like consciously let it relax. It's like I'm moving my eyes around like a crazy person.
I'm always relaxed.
Oh my gosh, no, you are not. So your third eye It's your intuition center. Your intuition is the balance of your conscious and your subconscious. So your intuition, I think a lot of us think it's just like, it is the sixth sense, this inner knowing, but you actually have like your higher self, which is all this subconscious stuff that you don't even know you know. And that's different than your intuition. That's like this knowledge through time, places, the collective that you just have. And that meets with your logic, which forms your intuition. So it's like, maybe you've never been face to face with an alligator, right? But you know from your higher wisdom that that thing looks dangerous. Plus your logic self knows that alligators can be dangerous. And this is where your intuition is like, I need to beat feet out of here because there's an alligator. Or like if you're doing a card reading, right? And you get this message and you're like, I don't know why, but I'm feeling really called to tell you to do yoga or something. This is part of where your logical self knows that yoga is a healing practice. It's great for the mind and body. Your higher self on some level knows that this person needs to know that they need to do yoga. And your logical self is like, that would fit because I logically know what yoga is. And that's where intuition comes into being. So many of us, though, especially those of you watching here, probably get tension headaches and don't feel very intuitive sometimes when we're in big groups of people, or there's a lot of people looking at us, or we have to think a lot or talk a lot. And many of us will actually kind of turn off our intuitive senses, our spidey senses, because it's too overwhelming to be intuitive all the time and always like know that things are happening or going to happen, or like
absorbing all of the messages
absorbing it and carrying the stress of that. So a way to work on your third eye is actually just simply spend quiet time alone and allow yourself the space to be open to receiving messages, to hear your own self, your own higher self, because many of us, like I said, unconsciously shut down our third eye chakras. And then even though we might be working really hard to open them, find it difficult because we've spent so much time and so much effort shutting them down that then it takes practice to be able to open and receive messages. So spending time alone to do that. We find when we are flexible in thinking and able to tap into our own dreams, remember them, that's a good sign that your third eye chakra is working more optimally. A person who's not flexible in their thinking, so somebody who is really like stubborn, pig-headed, a person who's stubborn, pig-headed, who is like adamant that there is no other way but their way. That's a person who is struggling mightily with their higher upper chakras. And that's the kind of person that Jen Sankey, if she's watching, she likes to say, do not engage. So I would agree, do not engage. A person that's like that, majority of their upper chakras are not wanting to share energy with yours. So do not engage. This is the element of light, the color of amethyst. The amethyst crystals are really great for third eye opening. Lapis lazuli, that's a bluer one. So it's like this blue, like this deep blue, purpley sort of thing. You'll see chakra colors represented a little bit differently depending on who is doing the representation. The sunflower seeds and the scent of sandalwood are some of the ways to work with that chakra. All right, we made it to the top. The crown chakra. This one's right there at the top of your head. This is your connection to divine energy. It's this feeling that you're connected to something greater than you and just knowing that it's there. It's your ability to just know and also just trust that you just know. So you know something, you don't know how the heck you know it, but you're trusting that it's the right thing to know and you move on with it. It's this idea that you have a sense of purpose, or that there is a sense of purpose for you, even if you don't know what it is, that there is a purpose for you. A person who has difficulty having faith or feeling like you're all alone, there's nothing out there that has your back, nothing supports you, you're just floating through the ether by yourself, that is a disconnected sort of crown chakra. A way to work on this chakra is to simply be mindful. That idea of being here now, be here now in this moment is a really great way to purposefully work on the crown chakra. The element of thought, clear quartz, blueberries, eggs, and fish, which seem like really strange things, but
it does seem really strange.
Well, so blueberries, we know have they're like a superfood, right? They're highly antioxidant, which get your body moving. Eggs are said to be the food that you can really survive on. Eggs and water, like they're everything you need. And then fish, the idea of fish with we think of astrology, which Nick can talk about, and Pisces.
Yeah.
Pisces is sort of that divine,
It is.
spiritual end of the spiritual road. Like
Right.
you are
It's
enlightened.
your connection to the subconscious, the greater spirit,
Yes.
Oneness of the universe.
The oneness. And so that's where our fish come into play, and the sense of frankincense and myrrh. So that's the end of the high. All right, let's get back over here. I do have some more to share with you, but I just want to check and see if, oh no, what happened?
You're signed out.
Somebody must have signed into my Google. Let's see here. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Let me get back in here, see if I can sign back in, because we're going to need those. We're going to need these slides for the rest of the presentation here. Where were we? Oh, the triad. Okay, we're not there yet. So let me check. Okay, questions. All right, let's see here. Ems is asking element sacral. Water is the element of the sacral chakra. So, which is interesting because of the color, it's that orange color. And we would think because it's passion, it might be like fire, right? And I think that we can look at them sort of on a, like I was talking about the moons yesterday, you have all these phases and it can be really stressful to remember all of them and what they all mean. But we can look at the first 2 weeks as sort of growing and the last 2 as releasing, right? And here we can look at these 3 lower ones as, I think fire is relevant to all 3 of the lower ones. Earth, I think, is relevant to all 3, and water. So I think all 3 of those elements would be relevant to any of the lower chakras.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see here. Rebecca wants the slides in printable form. We do have like a guide somewhere. I can see if I can find it for you guys. Let's see. There's a question here. I think it might be. Let's see. Oh, so Em's asked that question there, and I got it in the comments. All right. So next, we are going to talk about some ways that we can work on identifying which chakras need to be worked on. I'm going to drink this quick. Told you this is going to be a lot because we're going to try and do it in an hour. I used to teach just this free class by itself on chakras in a 5-day time period. Now I do it in 1 hour. It's like in the moon one I used to do in 3 days. I just condense it all down. All right.
Spread the information.
Yeah, let's get it back here. And Nikki, this slide will come back up for you real quick too. I'll put it back here for a second on the crown while we talk about. So now we're going to talk about a couple of ways to actually identify which chakras you might need to work on. So I didn't prepare with tools, which I normally do. I kind of drop the ball on that, but I will do my best to sort of explain. I do prepare.
No.
Yes, sometimes. Okay, so try it. There's a whole bunch of different ways here. I'm going to run through them and then we'll try to show you some. So the first thing you can do is draw what you feel like your energy feels like before you work with your chakras, and then again after. So basically, draw like 7 circles. And you can take, when you do that, the whole camera shakes.
Sorry, I was drawing my question mark. So I don't know how.
You can draw 7 circles. I'm not artistic, so I would just draw 7 circles. But if you are so inspired to draw like symbols or a human body, go on with your bad self. But you can use different colored pencils, crayons, highlighters, and sort of just like think to yourself, how does my root chakra feel? How grounded do I feel? Is it like a really bright red? Is it really dingy? Is it really big and expansive? Is it very like a dot and I can barely sense it? And do this on like a Monday, and then sort of consciously work on your chakras throughout the week and do it again on Friday and see what changed for you. You can use cards. So there are oracle decks that are only centered on the chakras. You could simply ask yourself, which chakra do I need to work on today? And pull a card and see what comes up for you. You can use tarot cards or oracle cards, whatever your jam is. Pull a card for each chakra and see sort of what the message is. You can look at your lower chakras as a whole, your heart chakra, and then your spiritual chakras all together. You can create a physical representation to represent the 3 lower chakras, since those are physical in nature and have to do with the physical world. You can make either something out of clay or collage something to sort of show your relationship with the physical world around you. You can use pendulums and crystals. So if you get a crystal to represent each of the chakras and use a pendulum to ask yes or no if that chakra is blocked, that's something that you can do. And a little note on this with the idea of crystals is that you'll see a lot of crystals sort of prescribed to a chakra, like these 5 crystals for this chakra. Really, though, you could use any crystal for anything. It depends on your intention and how it feels for you. So no crystal is actually prescriptive to anything. These are generalizations based on vibrations of a crystal, where they come from the earth, the process, their mineral content, as aligned to different sort of energy things that you work with yourself. For example, like for energy protection and things. But really, if you have like a rose quartz and you're like, no, man, this rose quartz speaks to me in my crown chakra, then use that. It's really what works best for you. And at the end of the day, 7 pieces of clear quartz would work just as fine as well. You can draw an image of yourself or take a photo of yourself if you're artistically inclined, or just draw a line down a piece of paper, which is what I would do. Go through the chakras and ask yourself, like actually do just a check-in and say, you know, okay, my root chakra, where are all the ways in which I am loving on my root chakra? Like I'm feeling grounded, I'm feeling safe, nurtured, and where am I not feeling grounded, safe, nurtured? Where am I feeling unfocused? And I would go through each one and say on the left, like these are all the ways in which this feels amazing, and these are not so amazing. And then you can kind of pick the one that you're like, I think this would have the biggest impact on my life right now, and work on that thing. You can journal again, pick a chakra, like pick your sacral chakra, set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just write down anything that comes to mind while thinking about the sacral chakra. You can light a candle and visualize one or all of your chakras sort of expanding, glowing, growing to be the way that you want them to be. And then a really cool thing, well, it's not even super cool, just a really quick thing to do is really just reflect. Just ask yourself, how grounded am I feeling today? How am I feeling in terms of unconditional love today? If I'm feeling really angry and resentful, I'm definitely not feeling unconditional love. Like, just ask yourself, how am I feeling? And that's a really great way to know which chakra to work on. Like, what's the first emotion that pops up to you? And then that thing. If a really great emotion pops up, if you're like, I'm feeling so creative, channel some more creative energy into that sacral chakra. If your first emotion is, I'm feeling really guilty, work on growing that, releasing the guilt and growing that heart chakra. And this is where we come back to those statements that are on the printable for today. I release, I accept, and I am, because you can look at what happens for you. And if you're like, oh, I'm feeling so creative, so driven today, then you could be like, I release any barriers that I believe I release anything that makes me think I'm not creative, because I clearly am. So I release any negative energy around being creative. I accept my desire to be creative fully. I am a creative being. I am a creative centered being. And we can work on those statements with the thing that comes up for you first. So those are some ways to sort of work on your chakras quickly and easily without lots of tools. Oh, man, my throat chakra is going to need some hot tea after this.
Your chakras are wonderful right now.
You're hearing my truth, oh my goodness, we did it in under an hour. So this is your chakras. And like I said, they really function as a system. So if your root chakra, if you're not grounded, you're very disconnected, you're like, I'm just floating through life, that's going to impact your ability to intuitively receive messages, because your roots are not taken. They're not where they need to be. And so all the spiritual stuff, when it becomes overwhelming, there's no place to channel it to, and it's going to fall over. Or like if maybe your physical world is really amazing, but you feel really guilty, like when you're like, I'm not going to people please today, and then you feel so guilty, all this spiritual stuff won't channel down into your physical world, because your heart chakra is putting up a big like no, do not pass go sign. And so we want to then look at that. So it is all a system, and we can look at these pieces in a vacuum, but we also want to see like, well, how, if I'm not being creative, where is this messing up the rest of my energy, and how is this, and then your energy like goes outward too, like your energy is impacting all these people around you. And depending on like different belief systems, and it's all different. But there's this idea that when we rest at night, our energy just sort of like does its thing and mingles with the energy of those around us. And so when our energy is like, not at its best, it's just dancing with everybody else's. That's not at its best. And this is where we want to try to bring our
negativity.
bring our best self forward to try to change that of the world around us. So much happening there. Woo! And so when we look at the moon phases yesterday, which we talked about, when we can work on that in tandem with our own energy. So I talked yesterday about tracking lunar cycles. Sorry, I'm still a bit stuffy from a cold I had last week. When we talk about tracking lunar cycles and where we are feeling maybe like really bogged down. For example, at the new moon, I become very tired. That's coming up in about a week from now. I'm going to be tired. Everybody's going to bug me. I'm just going to want to like nap and not do anything. And we can look at our energy at that time too, because when we're feeling that way, that's like our shadow stuff coming up, and that's really a great time to do that check-in, be like, well, what am I feeling right now? And where can I work on this? So we can integrate all of this stuff together and make a really cool experience. So Melody, you can find the replay in the email I sent. The replay link will be there. If you click the link for day 1, it'll take you right to the replay video. Except not right now, since I'm doing one, it'll direct you here. But when this is done, you can watch both replays right after. So Rebecca likes the idea of eating for your chakras. There's actually, I don't know who wrote it. There's probably more than one, but there is at least one that I know of, cookbook for your chakras, and all the recipes are they have all the chakra association. But chakra is the idea of color. Really, like if you are a person who you really want to work on your intuition, right? You really want to grow that intuition. The colors of like violets and bright, not like neon purples, but like lilac sort of white light purple. I don't even know how to explain it. Like this color kind of.
Lavender.
Yeah, like these cool stickers. For my business class, they say bippity boppity baller, boss witch, abracabundance. Nick made that one up. Anyway, like this sort of purple, that idea of that purple, like surrounding yourself with colors of that, things that make you feel that way when you look at that color. How do you feel when you look at that color? Bring things into your life that make you feel that way, and foods of those colors. So it's really like surrounding yourself, making the environment.
Food is the number one way we put energy into our body.
Mm-hmm. True story. Home slice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy of the food you're consuming, which I will say I do eat animal products, but which is why a lot of people in the spiritual world don't, because of the energy. Nick's a vegetarian. I am.
As you've said.
Yes, as I did say. It's like, why are you repeating yourself? So Rhonda likes using oils,
release that.
oils and crystals on my body during meditation to work on my chakras. Yes, you can put that if you lay down. So another thing you can do if you can do it yourself or with a person, lay down and do a pendulum over your chakras and see like which one. Or so there's this whole other idea, and this is a whole other topic of conversation, is the direction in which chakras are spinning. Should they turn right or left? And should they turn every other one if they're working like cogs in a system, right? And so you can use your pendulum. You can do it over crystals or a diagram of yourself too, and see which way it's spinning. And then focus on an affirmation, a release statement or something until it spins the way you want it to spin. And telling you that your chakras are in alignment. Yeah. Let's see. Rebecca's never heard of using food to help balance chakras. Yeah, there's a couple of cookbooks on it for sure. And then singing and dancing also, changing the tone. So like for your throat chakra, you would want like, I don't know, like heavy metal or something where you're like, ah! You're just like letting it all out. Whereas your sacral chakra, it's more of this like hip moving sort of thing, and then your crown chakra and your third eye, it's going to be more of like a meditation kind of music. like bells and things, like nicer tones. And you can use sound, voice, and body movement to work on your chakras as well. So all sorts of cool stuff going on. I cannot believe we did this so quickly. Well, I did it so quickly.
Well, it was really me. That's, I mean, come on.
So does anybody have any questions that I can answer for you, either about yesterday in the moon or today in the chakras? While you're here, it was quiet today, but that must mean that I just gave a lot of information.
Presented it very well.
Well, thank you, Nick. Let's see. So I don't think, so tomorrow we have, Anna's going to join me live tomorrow. I think we are going to change up the schedule a little bit. Tomorrow is going to be super simple everyday magic. And I think we might have Anna drop some of her mythology knowledge on us tomorrow during Magic Week.
Anna is so good at mythology.
Yes, she is. And then Saturday, maybe we'll do a little bit of tarot. And then maybe Anna can join for that too. And then Sunday, why am I going backwards in time? Sunday, maybe we'll do a little bit, we'll do our super simple everyday magic. So I'll see, I'll let you know in the email that I send out with the replay link and and with the link for tomorrow. I'll let you know the schedule of events. The times are the same though, as in the first email. So Angela says, giving me a lot to think about, off to do some journaling. I know it is a lot. Tomorrow at 9:15. Originally it was 9 a.m., but Anna's got to take her little guy to school. So we pushed it to just 9:15 in the morning. I know it's early. Those of you on the West Coast in the U.S., I do apologize. Saturday is a little bit later for you. And then Sunday, I think, is even later. Saturday is 10, Sunday is 10:15.
Prepared.
To get the West Coasters up and out of bed.
There's a plan. It's good, Sarah.
Yeah. And you're like, can you go over the moon cycle and menstruation cycle again, please, from yesterday? I don't know I don't think we really talked about that specifically. Really so you'll see, and this isn't actually my total zone of genius, so I'll tell you what I do know. You'll see a lot of people talk about a woman's cycle lining up with either the new moon or the full moon. And it's kind of my contention that it doesn't, and like some people actually try to change it to match up. It's my contention that it doesn't really matter so much, and that whatever your body is doing is sort of the cycle that you need to be in. So we can follow and this is why I love lunar tracking so much, because I have found that my energy, no matter what, it's always the same at the new moon. Always. Like, no matter what's happening physiologically at the new moon, I'm always exhausted and I'm always crabby and all this stuff surfaces, no matter what is happening internally for me. But for other people, you might notice that you're different, that it is more physiological for you and not so much lunar driven. In which case, like the next step to that, and from my perspective, would be to look at what's happening in the signs that the moon is in. Like, are you more in alignment with what's happening there than the actual phases? And so, or are you just marching to the beat of your own drum? In which case, you have a couple of different options. You can look at the energy around your physiological self, similar to that of a lunar cycle, and kind of follow that more, or follow the lunar cycle. So our physiological cycles mirror that of a lunar cycle, like to a T. There's a period of time where we're feeling very productive. We're feeling very awake. It's the great time to put new ideas into the world, like where we can put in the extra 2 hours of work. And then there's the time where we really need to rest and we need to have other people do stuff, outsource tasks, get the babysitter, get dinner delivered. And our physiological selves mirror that. And so for different people, then we might line up differently. So there's a bunch of it's like, we use this example a lot when we talk about astrology. It's like you have this basis of the lunar phase, and then you sort of take one of those pieces of like tracing paper and put it on top and look at what's happening with you, and then sort of integrate it in the way that works best for you, which is also why I don't really love like when people are like very prescriptive. They're like, this is what this is. And I'm like, well, it's not really. I mean, we're all people.
It's your story. It's not their story.
Exactly. It's your story. We all have different bodies. We all have different environmental factors, different people and different people's energy impacting us. So that probably just gave you like even more Even more questions there. Let's see here. So Amy hasn't gotten emails. Amy, if you signed up for the class and don't have the emails, check your spam folder, Amy Davis. Otherwise, our Magic Week email, you can find the link in there. Let's see here. Just checking back through. Rebecca's fireball of energy and positive during the new is super grabby and dream during the full. Now, I love a full moon, but I also am very fiery. My personality is very fiery. So whenever there's fire about, I'm like all crazed. And everyone's like, somebody sit Sarah down. The new moon,
Or just a bucket of water.
Yeah, it's a new moon. I'm like, nobody talk to me. I'm in my gremlin cave. Hiding out. All right, cool guys. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow with Anna as our special guest, and I will lock down our topic for tomorrow and yeah, get that out to you in the email later on tonight once I have it all figured out. All right, thanks for hanging with us, and I will see you tomorrow. And thanks, Nick, even
Thanks,
just
guys.
hanging out.
Yeah.
If you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find Nick and a bunch of videos over there. He's busy teaching our astrology class
Every day.
at the moment. Yeah, lots of homework for them.
Just every day.
Yeah. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day ahead. Bye.